if I remember correctly, he was like 2 hours off of getting world first on one of the Heaven's Ward raids.
Oh,
Like he cleared the same day.
right,
And he
right,
was just like, oh my god, 2 hours, just
right,
2 hours off. And it was all just because they had to wait until people were available.
right, right, right. But that's kind of the potentially like awful thing about it. Yeah, because they like every second counts, and yeah, like people kill themselves staying up for a patch, and I think this is one of the problems is that you run into with rating, especially the hardcore rating, is that yeah, it takes a lot of time, and it takes even more time because you have to have be available for stuff. I mean, that was one of the big things with EverQuest was that like monsters popped at a certain time,
Right.
and if you schedule a monster, you better be there because if your group wasn't ready, they were ready to kill. I was like, well,
Someone else will be.
right, exactly. Like, oh, you guys can take the next one. We'll take this one. And you could be waiting for days or a week or whatever in order for the next monster.
Yeah. What was the respawn rate on those?
I do not
Were they
remember.
like weekly server reset
Oh,
type
I
things?
wanted to say yeah, it's like that type of thing. Ooh,
Ooh.
somebody didn't get their.
Because that's what would make sense to me, like logistically. Just set like an internal cooldown based off the server reset time.
Right. And I think maybe like the very early trades were like that, based like the monsters would come back, whenever they respawn the server or whatnot.
Um, I don't remember there being any like open world raid bosses in like Star Wars Galaxies or anything like that. Other
Right.
than like crate dragon farming, but that's not quite the same thing.
Right. Yeah, and so like I think this is one of the things that kind of makes rating kind of relegates rating to a kind of a niche interest is that you know if you have a job or obligations or family or anything else like that, it's really hard for you to kind of like be able to drop everything and just do the thing.
Mm-hmm. I think I think that's why, if I remember correctly, like most raiding, like the largest demographic for raiders is like high school and college students,
Oh yeah, I can totally believe that.
just because they have like that very like set schedule
Right.
that they can almost guarantee that they'll be home
Right.
between these
They can skip
hours.
class with less consequence than somebody can skip a day of work.
Yeah. Are you endorsing for students to skip classes, Sai? That's not what this podcast is about.
I gave the caveat at the beginning that I've never designed a rig. Not my fault. My hands are clean. Um, just saying, we all know. People who went to college know that you can skip a class or two pretty easily. Um, you know,
The college that I was going to, you if you skipped 4 classes without a medical excuse, you got an F.
oh yeah.
Yeah, like unless there's a police report or a medical excuse involved, you can only skip 4 classes, or I think it was like 4 consecutive classes.
Mm,
So they were pretty strict about that.
right. Still, that's a lot more flexible than a lot of workplaces where
Mm.
you better have vacation, you better have asked it for it off, or have good have a generous sick day policy.
You like all my vortexes? I have the range buff again.
Wow.
Look how freaking big my Bastille is. You can't even see it.
Yeah, no kidding. That's just some craziness. Um, yeah, and
Anyways.
so yeah, and so like I think I'll like we've gotten a lot more kind of like variety of things. I think like instancing basically has helped make it so that people can um, you know uh, kind of go more at their own pace. Although they like a lot. Some people kind of lament the loss of kind of the thrill of the hunt. You know, fighting monsters in the world and competing for it and whatnot. Um, but yeah, I think that you definitely have
I
um,
I think that's more of
like
a clone of nostalgia than actual like enjoyment of that system, you know.
yeah. Well, I think there is a certain thrilling aspect to it of finding a monster or claiming a monster and showing up and whatnot. But yeah, I think most people like, a
But
little bit of nostalgia tinted glasses.
for the right person, there's a good amount of thrill drinking Drain Cleaner too. But
I mean, yeah, I'm not here to king shame.
just saying.
um, but yeah, I think that but I think on the flip side too is that like you were talking about Final Fantasy 14, kind of like the extreme primals kind of being a way to dip your toe into that. Because the one boss, you know, usually you can get, you know,
You can use the group finder system.
right. There's no weekly limits on the extreme primals. Or the extreme
No,
trials, is
there's
there?
not. No.
Right. And that's one of the things we'll talk about a little bit later, talking about like kind of some of the design stuff about like, sometimes because sometimes when like in the early raids, X amount of items drop, but like there's usually some multiple X people. With instancing stuff, like we can kind of make sure we can see that a lot more people get rewarded, which means that you're going to potentially be wanting to limit that so people don't just farm the hardest content repeatedly
Mm-hmm.
and get everybody their item. And again, I can go back to what I've said before. Like the game is designed around the business model. So you have a subscription-based game like Final Fantasy 14 or the original EverQuest or World of Warcraft. So it behooves them to limit how fast you can get upgrades in order to kind of stretch out your subscription. Because if it takes several weeks for you to kind of get through get through information and they patch once every several weeks, well, hey, that makes perfect sense for them. That way your group doesn't get all their shiny new toys real quickly and then go, okay, well, no longer interested in subscribing. We'll just cancel until the next raid, the next group of raids come out.
Which they end up doing anyways.
Maybe some people do that, but yeah, if they can, but like rate limiting stuff means that you're going to they potentially get whatever like 8 weeks of a subscription out of somebody instead of 4.
Mm. I just had a brain fart.
It happens.
What was I? I was gonna say something. What was it? Yeah, Star Wars Galaxy's had a week.